Huh? Okay, so I'm gonna read the sponsors first. Tonight's edition of Gridiron Gab is brought to you by Stoner's Pizza, U Parkham U Sellum, Texas Border Grill, Kudzu Seafood, Cherokee Brick and Tile, Bill Harden Music, Pond Max Incorporated, Apparel Authority, the Macon Touchdown Club, and BT Media Productions. Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome into another Thursday edition of Gridiron Gab. We are live here at Stoner's Pizza on Forsyth Road. We encourage you to come by and sit down and eat some great pizzas and wings and calzone and lasagna, whatever you want. They've got it right here at Stoner's Pizza on Forsyth Road. I am Russell Deese. I'm glad to have you with us on another Thursday night as we get ready for another week of high school, college, and pro football. Well, tonight we're going to be talking about the SEC standings, as a lot of teams, including the Georgia Bulldogs, have a bye week this week. A lot of folks in the East got a bye week. We'll look back at last week's scores. And, of course, our Pick'em contest this week will be a new game. Last week's our winner were. Now, remember, we had a double Pick'em contest last week, and it was LSU and Auburn and Georgia Tech and Miami. And our winner for the Auburn-LSU game was Davey Keys. So Davey won the big comeback by the LSU Tigers. He got the closest to the score, and he was a winner in Game 1. Game 2 was Georgia Tech and Miami, and the winner of that was Russ Campbell, and that makes Russ Campbell right here in Macon the first two-time winner of the Pick'em contest so far this year. So we got another one, big one this week, but we got a little switch up for you. We're going to step out of the conference this week, and we're going to go Michigan at Penn State as the number 20 number 20 ranked Wolverines as they go into Happy Valley to take on the Penn State Nittany Lions, and that is our Pick'em contest this week. We'll get it kicked off. We're going to talk about the SEC. We're going to come back and talk about the Stoner's Pizza Gridiron Game of the Week Friday night, tomorrow night, to kick it off, and then we'll go right into our SEC schedule and look around the country in college football. You're listening to Gridiron Gab live on DSPNSports.com. We'll come back after these timeouts.
Oh my, what a pizza pie! Take one bite and you'll say it too. In fact, take one bite of anything they cook at Stoner's Pizza Joint and they've got you. You'll immediately taste the difference because they make their dough daily, use only the finest cheese and top quality meats. Stoner's even cuts their vegetables fresh every day. Combine all that on the crisp crust taste of a stone oven, and in between bites you'll say, oh my, what a pizza pie! Stoner's Pizza Joint, Forsyth Road, Macon, and Houston Lake Road, Warner Robins.
Hey folks, Russell from Gridiron Game of the Week. When you get ready to buy a new car or a newer automobile, there's always the dilemma of what to do with your current car. Well, that's where U Parkham U Sellum at 3306 Vineville Avenue comes in. U Parkham U Sellum is the original automobile dealership with the owner in mind. For 18 years, U Parkham U Sellum has been the only alternative to giving your car to a local dealer on a trade-in or trying to market your car yourself. So when you get ready to sell your old car, give them a call today at 254-6310. That's U Parkham U Sellum, 3306 Vineville Avenue. It's football time in Middle Georgia, and that means it's time for the Macon Touchdown Club. Join us this year as we kick off our 72nd year at the Methodist Children's Home at 304 Pierce Avenue each and every Monday night. Come join us for a night filled of football fun and fellowship. We kick it off September the 11th. The Macon Touchdown Club, honoring student athletes since 1946. To find out more, log on to MaconTouchdownClub.com. Hey folks, it's Russell from Gridiron Game of the Week. You know, there comes a time when we all start to look for a brand new or even a newer automobile, and as a consumer, your choices have always been limited as to where to shop, and secondly, what to do with your current car. Take it to the local dealer and trade it in for wholesale, ride around town with that ugly for sale sign in the back window, or park it in your driveway and hope somebody stops by and they're really there to look at your car. Well, that's where the fine folks at U Parkham U Sellum at 3306 Vineville Avenue in Macon come in. U Parkham U Sellum is the the original automobile dealership with the owner in mind. For almost 18 years, You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em has been the alternative to giving your car away to the local dealer on a trade-in or trying to market the car yourself. The professional staff at You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em has 35 years of experience in the automobile industry, and they're there solely to help you through the process of selling or buying your next car. If you have a car and you're ready to sell it, let the folks at You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em show you how to maximize your vehicle's marketing and financial potential today. You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em, the car lot for you. Remember, folks, don't just park it, sell it. Give them a call today, 478-254-6310. That's You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em.
Before you put your company logo or event name on the streets, say it with authority. Apparel Authority. Now at a new location off Eisenhower Parkway across from Lowe's. Shirts, hats, cups, pens, patches, we put your logo on almost anything. Our team provides quality craftsmanship and custom embroidery, and our screen printing will turn your design into wearable works of art. Call or stop by in person for a quote. Apparel.
And welcome back on a Thursday night. We're live here at Stoner's Pizza on Forsyth Road. We're looking ahead to the SEC this week. Don't forget our Pick'em contest this week is going to be Michigan at Penn State. Michigan has beaten Penn State 3 times in a row. A lot of people had Penn State winning that game last year, and it was not a close game. But this week they opened up as a 12.5-point favorite in that game, and now that game is down to 9 points. So the line on that has dropped significantly in the last 2 to 3 days. Of course, Penn State's got the great running back who's going to be hard to stop, and they can throw the football. They're complete on the offensive side of the ball. Michigan, on the other hand, yeah, they're great on defense, but, man, do they struggle bad on offense. So I'm not for sure about this game. Penn State's got a lot to prove in this game to me as far as I'm concerned. In order to go play with the big boys. They come in ranked number 2 in the country behind Alabama, and number 3, of course, is the Georgia Bulldogs, who had a big weekend last weekend. I was a little surprised that Georgia let Missouri come in and score as many points as they did on them, but, of course, a couple of those came on a couple of big plays. But Missouri obviously is starting to play a little better, not much better. I picked Georgia to win that game, something like, I thought 51-14, something like that would be the final score in that game. And I'll have to look up. I can't remember what the final score was last week. They allowed Missouri, I believe, to score 28 points on them. I think the only weakness, if you look at the Georgia Bulldogs, that they have at all is in the passing defense, in the secondary. They're running 4 or 5 running backs. Nobody's really putting up huge numbers in the running back, but when you got that many guys carrying the ball, almost 3 of them are getting double-digit carries in every game. Why throw the football? Last week was probably Jake Fromm's best week at quarterback. He lit it up. He got his 300-yard passing game, and for the second time this year, he was named the SEC Freshman of the Week, and deservedly so. The Dogs have got the week off. Let's run down the schedule in the East and the West this week. Of course, Florida is off. Georgia is off as well. South Carolina is off. Vanderbilt is off. Kentucky plays Mississippi State. Now, Kentucky comes in this 2-1 in the conference, 5-1 overall, and the Dogs still have to play them down the road. Missouri plays Idaho. Don't care about that game. And then, of course, for Tennessee, poor old Butch Jones. He's got to go to Tuscaloosa, and it might be 100-3 if Nick Saban wants it to be that. That's just where I feel like that game's going to turn out. I think this is Butch Jones' swan song. If he gets hammered after losing to South Carolina last week, I don't know what support's left for the man in Knoxville, Tennessee. I've had the pleasure of meeting Butch Jones a couple of times in person. Spent a little time talking to him one-on-one on both occasions. I found him to be quite engaging, and I thought he was very knowledgeable when it comes to football. For some reason, he cannot put it together up there in Rocky Top, and I believe it has reached his end. The other guy that's on the hot seat, of course, is Bellama out at Arkansas. If we look at the West, Alabama, of course, takes on Tennessee. LSU takes on Ole Miss. Mississippi State takes on Kentucky, as we said. Texas A&M is off this week. Arkansas plays Auburn. Auburn coming off a a terrible, terrible loss down in Baton Rouge last week. A 20-point lead, blew it 270 yards of offense in the first half, ended up with 52 yards second half offense in that game, and a lot of questions on the Plains about why this continues to happen, especially against ranked teams. And if you're an Auburn fan and you go back and think about it, this all started the same scenario. I could name probably 5 or 6 games just off the top of my head. The 2013 National Championship game is one that comes to mind. Auburn's up 20-7 in that game, or 23-7 in that game. Late in the second period, gave up a fake punt, and then Florida State was able to score, and that made it 21 or 23, I think, to 14. And the rest is history. Auburn scored one more time in the second half, and Florida State came back and found a way to win the game. The Georgia game that year, the famous Tip 6 game, 9 minutes and 48 seconds to go in the fourth period of that game. Auburn led that game at that time by a 20-point lead, allowed Aaron Murray and the Georgia Bulldogs to come back and take the lead in that game before the famous Tip 6. Had the lead back and forth against Alabama the next week, and the famous Kick 6 took place. So there's been several games. Texas A&M game that same year, 2014 or 15, Auburn had a big lead and allowed Texas A&M to come back in 2014 in Auburn on a Saturday night, and things just have not been the same on the Plains with Gus Malzahn really since that game. And he has struggled, and he struggled a lot trying to make up some wins, and he hadn't been able to do it. He's below 500 against top-ranked teams. Any ranked team, I believe, his record now is 16-19 against ranked teams. And there was a lot of disgruntled people that left Baton Rouge, Louisiana, wearing the orange and blue last Saturday night. The Dogs are on a roll. Alabama's on a roll. You got to say right now that is a clash of titans that's coming probably in the SEC championship game. However, as I told a lot of Auburn and Georgia people last week, and even some Alabama and Florida folks, there's a lot of football still to be played. We talked about this last week on the show. Oklahoma at home against an unranked Iowa State team, and they got beat. There were 4 top 10 teams that went down last week. It started last Thursday night and last Friday night with Clemson going down to Syracuse in their ball game, and then Washington State got beat by Cal. Auburn got beat by LSU, and then Washington on Saturday fell as well. That was 4 teams out of the top 10 that went down to defeat last week. So if we look at the standings in the East right now, Georgia stands at 4-0, 7-0 overall. Surprisingly, Kentucky is right behind them at 2-1, 5-1 record overall as they got a win last week. South Carolina got the victory over Tennessee last week. Now they're 3-2 in the conference, and they're 5-2 overall. Florida is 3-2 in the conference, 3-3 overall. They lost another key defensive man today. He actually from the weekend in their game against Texas A&M, they got beat over the weekend. They've lost probably their best defensive lineman. So Florida, and he's gone for the year. It was announced today that he had already had surgery over the weekend, and he's gone. And he was a fifth-year senior with a medical red shirt. So his career is effectively over now at Florida. It's a season-ending surgery. I don't know if it was a knee or an ankle. Of course, he could go and play in the NFL, and he certainly got the talent to do so. But another brick torn out of the wall of an already very, very wounded Gators football team. 9 players suspended. They're not coming back. Galloway, Scarlett, none of them. They're not coming back. They've got a redshirt freshman quarterback that is not quite ready to play and make a big step in the Southeastern Conference as far as I'm concerned. They're both off this week, and the world's largest outdoor cocktail party kicks off in Jacksonville next Saturday. It's not the rivalry by the river. It is the world's largest outdoor cocktail party, and that's exactly what it is. It'll be crazy. There will be a lot of Florida tickets sold. Do not anticipate that game to be split 50-50 in the old Gator Bowl. I think it's Alltel Stadium now. I'm dating myself, but you will probably see a lot more Georgia fans at that football game than you're going to see Florida fans. Georgia's going to come in, buy those tickets up. The Gators are not going to want to see it. Florida will not be able to play with Georgia this year unless some kind of miracle happens and Georgia brings back Fatom Bata to be the starting quarterback or something stupid like that. Kirby Smart's got his team rolling. Chubb, Marshall, Prom. I mean, he's the game is coming to Prom now, and he's starting to figure it out. The playbook's getting opened up. And listen, still a lot of football left to play, and there's some challenging games coming down the road, I think, for Georgia. I do believe that Kentucky may find a way to give them a little bit of a challenge. They still have that game to play. They still have South Carolina. And let's face it, Georgia has not had their bad game yet. I guess if you look on the other side in the West at Alabama, was their bad game at Texas A&M? Statistically, yes. They were up 28-3 in that game, and it ended up to be 28-19 and an onside kick away from Texas A&M getting a possession with about a minute and 30 seconds left in that game with a chance to drive and maybe tie it up. Alabama, of course, being Alabama, they didn't allow that to happen, and that's what good football teams do. They had their man right on the onside kick. Now, does Georgia have a tough game coming up? They will be challenged, I think, by somebody down the road. Who will that be? I don't know. Will it be Kentucky? Will it be Georgia Tech? It won't be Florida. Could it be Auburn? Off the top of my head, I'm picking Georgia Tech and Auburn really as the two challengers they've got left, the two more complete teams, especially offensively. If Auburn can figure out how to play a second half of a football game like they do a first half of a football game, that remains to be seen. As we said, Auburn plays Arkansas this week, then they have a bye week, and then Gus Malzahn has a huge game against Texas A&M on the road. Back to the East again, Georgia 4-0, Kentucky's 2-1, Florida's 3-2, South Carolina's 3-2, Missouri's 0-4, Tennessee's 0-4, and Vandy's 0-4 in the conference. All the promises that Vandy showed at the start of the season. Alabama came in there and just crushed their hearts. I mean, they took everything they had out of them, and they have not played at all like the Vanderbilt team, especially defensively like they started the year at. On the west side, of course, it's the Crimson Tide. Alabama 4-0, 7-0 overall. Then it's Auburn at 3-1, 5-2 overall with the loss to LSU. Couple that with the loss to Clemson to start the season. Texas A&M is 2-1. They also are at 5-2. LSU is 2-1 in the conference. They are also 5-2. Ole Miss is 1-2, 3-3. Mississippi State is 1-2, but they are 4-2 overall. And Arkansas is 0-3 and 2-4. 2-4 overall. We can certainly talk about hot seat coaches tonight. Bellama at Arkansas, Butch Jones at Tennessee. Is Kevin Sumlin righted the ship with his freshman quarterback now, Mounds, that has come in and played really, really good for a true freshman. He is going to be something to watch over the next few years. The collapse at UCLA really, really hurt Texas A&M, but then the game against Alabama and the game on the road against Florida, maybe he's turned the corner. He was a young team going into this year with not a lot of experience on the offensive and defensive side of the ball. Their defense has matured, certainly. The thing that surprised me about the Aggies' defense was the push they were able to get most of the night, quite frankly, against the Alabama offensive line, which is very good. They put pressure on Hurts all night long at Texas A&M at College Station that night. It's a tough place to play. Their next big game, as we said, is Auburn, and that's week after next. A&M is off this week, and then Auburn is off next week, got the bye week, and then they'll be in College Station following that. It's going to make for a very interesting November as we get to it. Alabama and Tennessee, we can talk about that. I don't think there's much to talk about. The only question in this game is how bad does Alabama beat them? How bad does Nick Saban want to embarrass them in Tuscaloosa? If it gets really, really bad, it would not surprise me to see Butch Jones get the axe by Monday morning at Tennessee. There's a lot of money involved with him. Who knows what's going to happen if Tennessee's going to pull the trigger. I don't think they have any choice at this point to do so. What does that say? All right, you can bring that in here in just a minute. Charles Crowley here, the owner of Stoner's Pizza, a sick human being with that Alabama hat on. But at any rate, Georgia's got the bye week off. They look good. They're rolling. They're staying away from the injury bug. I noticed this about other teams around the conference the last couple of weeks, is those things are starting to mount up. Even Alabama. Florida's probably as decimated as anyone, but Alabama's lost their share of starters. The difference between Alabama and you is they got a 5-star sitting on the bench that can come in and take his place. Now, he doesn't have game experience, and that showed a little bit in the Texas A&M game as they lost some folks. But, that's just the difference between what Nick Saban's got in Tuscaloosa and everybody's got, including in Athens and Gainesville and Auburn and Knoxville and College Station and Baton Rouge as well, too. It is interesting now to see what old Coach O's going to do down at LSU. Gets beat at home handedly by Troy State 2 weeks ago, down 20 points to Auburn in Baton Rouge, and comes back and wins it, following a week where he went on the road and beat Florida. I don't really know where they're at as far as the program yet is concerned. The win at Florida, the win against Auburn could be a turning point for that football team. I still think they've got problems on offense that they haven't worked out. And Kennedy, the offensive coordinator there, still to me just doesn't seem to have turned the corner. They got a big interception against Auburn. They got a big punt return that led to scores on a very, very short field and a couple of field goals, and that was completing the comeback to beat Auburn. So I still think they need some help offensively. We'll see how that goes down the road. Ole Miss and Mississippi State, I don't know. It's kind of – Dan Mullen's got a very young team, graduated a lot of folks the last 2 years. Ole Miss, we all know the problems there. The NCAA is not going to announce their penalties and punishment for that until after the Mississippi State game. Of course, Ole Miss blames Mississippi State on all of this happening, kind of like, the Tennessee-Alabama situation with Phil Fulmer and Albert Means a number of years ago. Tennessee and Alabama in Tuscaloosa, it's going to get ugly, folks. I don't know how ugly. As we stated, I think it's up to Nick Saban how bad he wants to make it. We'll see what happens and transpires on Saturday in that game. But our pick'em contest tonight, and your calls at 478-550-0524. We're going out of the conference for the first time all year. Once again, I want to thank last week's winner, Davey Keys. He won the prize package for the LSU Auburn game, and Russ Campbell, for the second time this year, he's a winner of the pick'em contest. So all their names go into the hat for the grand prize drawing. And let's talk about the grand prize drawing. So here's what we got. Every week we're giving away about $80 in merchandise. We got hats, T-shirts, gift certificates, monogram cups, all kind of little stuff to give you away each week. It's worth about $80. And then at the end of the year, we've got some great sponsors. We've got PawnMax Incorporated is going to give away a 12-gauge shotgun and an AR-15 rifle. Bill Harden Music is going to give away a choice of acoustic or electric guitar. And Cherokee Brick and Tile is going to give away a $1,000 Big Green Egg smoker. So you want to be a part of the pick'em contest each and every week. We get about 35 to 50 guys and ladies that have participated in the pick'em contest so far this year, and you should too. So come and like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter at DSBN Sports. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, which is DSBN Sports, 2 words. On Friday night, you can sit and watch the game live. If you can't make it to the game or you got other plans, you're at the house, just go log on to your YouTube app on your smart TV or your Roku or your Chromecast or your Apple TV. Subscribe to it. You can watch the game in full HD every Friday night and our talk show on Thursday night. So we'll come back. We're going to talk about the Stoner's Pizza Gridiron Game of the Week tomorrow night, our high school game of the week, when we come back. You are listening to Gridiron Gab on a Thursday night, live from Stoner's Pizza on Forsyth Road, right here on DSBNSports.com and Facebook Live. We will be back after this timeout.
This just in. A large storm in the Gulf has all but decimated the entire Gulf shrimping industry, with the exception of a lone shrimping boat manned by a legless veteran and a young gentleman that hasn't stopped waving at our cameras or telling us his mama's advice. Odd. In completely unrelated news, Kudzu Seafood Company, the authentic Gulf Coast seafood restaurant that brought the coast to Middle Georgia, has also cornered the shrimp market in Central Georgia. Barbecue shrimp and cheese grits, buffalo shrimp, firecracker shrimp tacos, shrimp po' boys, shrimp burgers, shrimp baskets, and Dr. Pepper, all on 3rd Street in downtown Macon. Stay tuned for more breaking news.
Before you put your company logo or event name on the streets, say it with authority. Apparel Authority. Now at a new location off Eisenhower Parkway across from Lowe's. Shirts, hats, cups, pens, patches, we put your logo on almost anything. Our team provides quality craftsmanship and custom embroidery, and our screen printing will turn your design into wearable works of art. Call or stop by in person for a quote. Apparel Authority. Now at a new location off Eisenhower Parkway across from Lowe's.
Oh my, what a pizza pie! Take one bite and you'll say it too. In fact, take one bite of anything they cook at Stoner's Pizza Joint and they've got you. You'll immediately taste the difference because they make their dough daily, use only the finest cheese and top quality meats. Stoner's even cuts their vegetables fresh every day. Combine all that on the crisp crust taste of a stone oven, and in between bites you'll say, oh my, what a pizza pie! Stoner's Pizza Joint, Forsyth Road, Macon, and Houston Lake Road, Warner Robins.
Planning on a holiday party with friends, family, or coworkers? Texas Border Grill's private banquet room offers seating from 5 to 55. Lunch to dinner 7 days a week. Featuring an amazing menu with aged beef, seafood, and so many other signature dishes. Texas Border Grill.
Hey folks, Russell from Gridiron Game of the Week. When you get ready to buy a new car or a newer automobile, there's always the dilemma of what to do with your current car. Well, that's where You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em at 3306 Vineville Avenue comes in. You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em is the original automobile dealership with the owner in mind. For 18 years, You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em has been the only alternative to giving your car to a local dealer on a trade-in or trying to market your car yourself. So when you get ready to sell your old car, give them a call today at 254-6310. That's You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em, 3306 Vineville Avenue. It's football time in Middle Georgia, and that means it's time for the Macon Touchdown Club. Join us this year as we kick off our 72nd year at the Methodist Children's Home at 304 Pierce Avenue each and every Monday night. Come join us for a night filled of football fun and fellowship. We kick it off September the 11th. The Macon Touchdown Club, honoring student athletes since 1946. To find out more, log on to MaconTouchdownClub.com. Hey folks, it's Russell from Gridiron Game of the Week. You know, there comes a time when we all start to look for a brand new or even a newer automobile, and as a consumer, your choices have always been limited as to where to shop, and secondly, what to do with your current car. Take it to the local dealer and trade it in for wholesale, ride around town with that ugly for sale sign in the back window, or park it in your driveway and hope somebody stops by and they're really there to look at your car. Well, that's where the fine folks at You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em at 3306 Vineville Avenue in Macon come in. You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em is the original automobile dealership with the owner in mind. For almost 18 years, You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em has been the alternative to giving your car away to the local dealer on a trade-in or trying to market the car yourself. The professional staff at You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em has 35 years of experience in the automobile industry, and they're there solely to help you through the process of selling or buying your next car. If you have a car and you're ready to sell it, let the folks at You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em show you how to maximize your vehicle's marketing and financial potential today. You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em, the car lot for you. Remember folks, don't just park it, sell it. Give them a call today, 478-254-6310. That's You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em.
Before you put your company logo or event name on the streets, say it with authority. Apparel Authority. Now at a new location off Eisenhower Parkway across from Lowe's. Shirts, hats, cups, pens, patches, we put your logo on almost anything. Our team provides quality craftsmanship and custom embroidery, and our screen printing will turn your design into wearable works of art. Call or stop by in person for a quote. Apparel Authority, now at a new location off Eisenhower Parkway across from Lowe's.
This just in. A large storm in the Gulf has all but decimated the entire Gulf shrimping industry, with the exception of a lone shrimping boat manned by a legless veteran and a young gentleman that hasn't stopped waving at our cameras or telling us his mama's advice. Odd. In completely unrelated news, Kudzu Seafood Company, The authentic Gulf Coast seafood restaurant that brought the coast to Middle Georgia has also cornered the shrimp market in Central Georgia. Barbecue shrimp and cheese grits, buffalo shrimp, firecracker shrimp tacos, shrimp po' boys, shrimp burgers, shrimp baskets, and Dr. Pepper, all on 3rd Street in downtown Macon. Stay tuned for more breaking news.
I've always wanted this. You have too. It's waiting to be unleashed.
It's in all of us. You just have to find it. Greatness. It's where your dreams and passions become reality.
Greatness is where your hard work and dedication pay off.
Greatness. It's shaking hands with your future. Middle Georgia State University. Find your greatness.
The Macon Touchdown Club continues its 72nd season on Monday, October the 2nd at the Methodist Children's Home located on Pierce Avenue right here in Macon. It's Georgia Tech night, and we welcome to town the head coach of the Yellow Jackets, Paul Johnson. Our program begins at 6:30 with dinner, and our presentation soon to follow. We'll shine a spotlight on our local high school of the week and honor our back, linemen, and special teams players as well. So join us Monday night, October the 2nd at the Macon Touchdown Club. For more information, log on to MaconTouchdownClub.com.
Oh my, what a pizza pie! Take one bite and you'll say it too. In fact, take one bite of anything they cook at Stoner's Pizza Joint and they've got you. You'll immediately taste the difference because they make their dough daily, use only the finest cheese and top quality meats. Stoner's even cuts their vegetables fresh every day. Combine all that on the crisp crust taste of a stone oven, and in between bites you'll say, oh my, what a pizza pie! Stoner's Pizza Joint, Forsyth Road, Macon, and Houston Lake Road, Warner Robins.
And welcome back to Stoner's Pizza Joint on a Thursday night. I'm Russell Deese. I am joined by Charles Crowley, the man, the myth, the legend, with that stinking Alabama hat on still. All right, my man, another big week. Well, before we do that, we got to talk about tomorrow night, the Stoner's Pizza Gridiron Game of the Week. We will be live from Jack Baines Field on the campus of Tatnall Square Academy. And it's another one of those half-mile rivalry, 5-mile rivalry games. We got some great ones. Last week it was FPD went to play at Stratford. The Stratford Eagles are undefeated. They came out on top 28-7. That game was 14-7 at the half, and the Eagles kind of took over along the trenches, I thought, late in that game and kind of turned FPD a little one-dimensional as the Vikings weren't able to get on the board in the second half, and Stratford scored twice and kept their undefeated record intact. But tomorrow night it's another huge rivalry game as FPD comes in with only 2 losses, one to Stratford, one to Brookstone, and Tatnall comes in undefeated with Coach Chance Jones. So Greg Moore and Chance Jones and their teams will go head-to-head live. Don't forget, that's tomorrow night on DSBNsports.com. You can also watch it live on Facebook at DSBN Sports and on our YouTube channel. Like we said, if you're at home and you can't see it there, if you can't come to the game, if you're at the house, you can watch it on your YouTube app and it'll be in full HD. So if you got a 96-inch screen TV, you can watch it live. Going out on the town, coming up to Stoner's to have a little pizza, don't worry, it'll be live on the big screen right here. And we'll also have it at 2 other places tomorrow night. That will be Texas Border Grill out on Houston Road and Kudzu Seafood in downtown Macon. So if you're going out on the town downtown tomorrow night or out toward South Bibb County, you can see it at all 3 locations, Stoner's, Kudzu, and Texas Border Grill. So that is our game tomorrow night. Pre-game will be at 7:15. We'll kick it off at 7:30. All right, Charles, so we're back in business. We're here on a Thursday night. So what's going on at Stoner's this week?
Well, the fair is gone, so hopefully business picks back up.
Right.
I think we talked about, the Big Texan last time?
Yeah, but let's mention it again.
Okay. Well, it'll be one of the bigger pizzas you'll ever see. It's 24 inches. Barely fits out the front door of the store. Feeds 6 to 8 people. We cut it in 49 squares. They're about 1.5 inches to 2 inches around. What is it, $29.99 and then $2.99 per topping.
$2.99 per topic, $29.99. So perfect for tailgating tomorrow night. We got some games going on in Macon. Come by and get your tailgating supplies here. And, of course, it's not just pizza. You sell a variety of things here as well, too.
Wings, lasagna. We make the lasagna fresh to order.
Ooh,
the
good.
Wings are the jumbo wings. I know you've had them quite a few times.
As many as I could eat.
And we do salads, sandwiches, got sweet stuff, a little bit of everything.
Yep. All right. So let's look back last week. Alabama is
A monster.
just a monster. They destroyed Arkansas last week. In the East, it's Alabama, Georgia. In the West, it's Alabama. There's still some games to be played. There's still some things that could happen. Right now, everybody, of course, is looking at it and going, look, it's going to be Alabama and Georgia. I'm still telling everybody take it week to week because 4 top 10 teams went down last week.
Yep.
Week before, Oklahoma went down to an unranked team. You've got Michigan. You've got Penn State this week. We'll get your pick 'em on that one as well, too. Looking ahead to this Saturday with Alabama and Tennessee. Obviously, we don't think nobody thinks this is going to be much of a contest.
But it's a rivalry game, so sometimes Tennessee, will shock you.
Not this year. So, we all think Alabama's going to win this game. It's not going to be a close game. It's in Tuscaloosa. It is against Tennessee. I mean, the harsh feelings are still there over the Albert Means case years ago with Phil Palmer. The only person that's played Alabama close in this series in recent history was Lane Kiffin, and Alabama had to block 2 field goals to win that game his only year at Tennessee, his first year.
Yeah.
And I'm a firm believer, had he stayed at Tennessee may be a different kind of story right now as far as their program goes. He left, he bolts to USC, doesn't make it there, comes back to Alabama's offensive coordinator. That kind of washed itself out, and Saban brought in Steve Sarkisian. It was going to be the replacement for Lane Kiffin. Everybody kind of thought he might go to LSU. He did not, and he ends up at Florida Atlantic now. Then Steve Sarkisian leaves. Kirby Smart leaves. It doesn't seem to have affected Alabama yet.
No, he's going to get a good offensive coordinator because it's Alabama, and right now
he's got
they're on top.
He's got the tight ends coach from the New England Patriots.
Yeah,
it's amazing. The guy can't fail at whatever he does. Your thoughts on Butch Jones? I mean, do they give him to the end of the year? Is he going to get? Yeah, I know he's gone. I don't know he's gone.
It's according on what their recruiting starts to look like. If they start losing a bunch of them recruits, they're going to go ahead and get him out of there.
And they've lost some 5-star guys already. The question to me is, do they let him finish out the end of the year? I said if he lost to South Carolina badly and then got just annihilated at Tuscaloosa, he would not make it till Monday morning. They lost 19-17, I think, last week to South Carolina. So not a total blowout of him, but Alabama wins this game 54-3. Is he gone on Monday, or do they wait till the end of the year?
I think probably gone on Monday.
Yeah, I just don't know what's going to happen now. You've got some other. Auburn goes to play Arkansas. Very well, Auburn will want. They're going to be hungry. They were embarrassed at LSU last week. They're going to want to bounce back from that game. And boy, if you got a team that can make you well in Arkansas, because in no facet of their game are they very good right now.
Yeah, I was looking, and we talked about earlier about Brett Bielema as well.
Yeah, I think he's gone. I don't think the Arkansas hire is quite as easy to do as people think. It's they couldn't keep Petrino there. Obviously he left for other reasons. But even when he was winning 10 football games, he still didn't have the defense to get him over the top.
Most places he's been, he hasn't had a good defense.
That's true.
He would have a good offense, and then defense would be suspect.
Well, head coach at Arkansas, he was suspect on the defensive side of the ball. Louisville's kind of the same way. Todd Grantham was up there with him last year, played a little better on the defensive side of the ball. One thing you've got to say about him, though, is he's been to programs where the recruiting is not quite the best in the SEC at Arkansas.
And he gets recruits, especially on the offensive side of the ball.
What would he scare you at a place like Tennessee or LSU or Auburn?
Yeah.
Yeah, especially if he chose the right coordinator.
And I think it's kind of the team in Louisville seems like they're falling apart a little bit, and I think it's mainly it might be because they know he's fixing to bolt.
Well, here's the thing: they're playing Florida State, and one of those two teams is going to have 4 losses now. When they play each other, I mean, at the beginning of the year, there's certain games on the schedule that you put a circle around.
Yeah, exactly.
The Iron Bowl, Georgia, Florida, Alabama, Tennessee, probably Michigan, Notre Dame, Michigan, Ohio State, Penn State, Michigan, Penn State, Ohio State, USC, Notre Dame. Those are all there, Florida State and Louisville, because of what that's become over the last few years. I mean, is that a game you sit down and watch now? Maybe not.
It's not really going to catch my interest.
I mean, it's not going to catch anybody's interest anymore.
And
they've got the best football player probably in the country at their quarterback position, without a doubt. I think as far as a single guy. But now there's no luster to this game anymore.
Yeah, well, you got Florida State with a good defense still,
and no offense.
No offense, and now you got basically a team with not much defense and a whole lot of offense.
Georgia Tech and Miami last week, another great game. Miami remains undefeated. I'm not buying the Hurricanes.
No,
I'm not buying it because offensively they can't do much with the football.
And they, in my opinion, they kind of should have lost that game.
Well, they should have lost their last 2. They should have got beat by Florida State, and Tech led them all night, and they couldn't. Tech's defense let them down again, just as they did in the Tennessee game.
They're definitely not a top 10 team.
Yeah, I don't think so either. They may be a top 15, top 20 team. I don't think they're a top 10 team at this point, outside of Alabama and Georgia, and maybe Penn State and Ohio State, because Ohio State's starting to get rolling a little bit again now after the loss to Oklahoma. There's some great football coming with Penn State. They got to play Michigan, Michigan State, and Ohio State.
Mm-hmm.
Ohio State still got to play Michigan and Penn State.
Do you see which team do you see there? Because whichever one runs the gauntlet's probably getting in the playoffs.
I think this game Saturday with Michigan is going to be very interesting. They've got a loss already, though. I think Michigan's defense is. You're going to find out exactly how real Penn State is this Saturday. If they roll against that Michigan defense, then it's going to be setting up that Ohio State game. Is going to be just something else to watch.
Yeah.
That's probably going to be for all the marbles there. I don't know. I still got to see some more on Penn State before I can say that I really think they're a top 5 team yet.
I mean, if you haven't seen Saquon Barkley yet,
he's incredible.
That kid can make you miss.
Yeah.
Make several players miss on any play.
And not only that, with Barkley, they can run the football. He can take it back on a kickoff return. I'm trying to remember. He's bigger than this, but there was a kid for Alabama about 10 years ago that was just electric out of the backfield, running the football, catching the football, punt returns, everything. I can't remember. I'll think of it here shortly, and we'll compare to him, even though Saquon's bigger than him. He is fun to watch. But like I said, still a lot of football left to play. Alabama for the year, they lead the league right now in total offense, 3,394 yards, and followed by Georgia and Auburn. They're the only 3 teams that's put up that kind of yards. Alabama's averaging 485 yards passing per game.
Is that right?
484 yards per game is what they're up to. They've 3,000 on the season. Georgia's got 454 yards a game. Auburn's at 438. Rushing yards, passing yards rather. Bama leads the league in passing. You talk about your boy, can't throw it downfield. 1,276 yards. 1,200 yards for Georgia, 1,500 for Auburn. And rushing yards a game is 182 on the ground for Bama, 171 for Georgia, and 216 for.
League.
Yeah, leads the league, 1,276 yards, passing yards per game. So for the year. So You know, I know it's all underneath stuff, but who cares? It's all yak, yards after catch. So Alabama, who's their only person that's going to challenge them this year, regular season?
Auburn.
Anybody they got left?
Auburn.
That's it.
That's it.
All right, so the Dogs, like we said, they're off next week. This week, they go to Jacksonville next Saturday night, and the Saturday afternoon it'll be the 3:30 game. What's the 3:30 game this week? I don't know who is it. Let's look at. Oh, it's Alabama and Tennessee. Can they put that crap on TV? Good Lord. Good Lord, that's terrible that you're going to put that on TV. It's going to be 100-3 Alabama. That's your final score. All right,
You think anybody's going to turn and watch the Tweety Birds this week?
No, we're playing Arkansas. I mean, you might as well go buy some paint and put it on a board and watch it dry. It'll be more entertaining than that. All right, so don't forget Stoner's Pizza Gridiron Game of the Week tomorrow night. It will be the Greg Moore and the FPD Vikings traveling over to Jack Baines Field on the campus of Tatnall Square Academy, and they will take on Chance Jones and the Trojans. Our pregame show will start at 7:15. Kickoff for the Stoner's Pizza Gridiron Game of the Week will be at 7:30. All right, Charles, anything else you want to add?
Go Tweety Birds.
Go Tweety Birds. Hey, I'm giving them an award tonight that nobody's got since the first week of the season. We'll talk about it when we come back. You're listening to Gridiron Gab, live from Stoner's Pizza on Forsyth Road. We'll take a time out. We'll come back. We'll be back after these messages.
Oh my, what a pizza pie! Take one bite and you'll say it too. In fact, take one bite of anything they cook at Stoner's Pizza Joint and they've got you. You'll immediately taste the difference because they make their dough daily, use only the finest cheese and top quality meats. Stoner's even cuts their vegetables fresh every day. Combine all that on the crisp crust taste of a stone oven, and in between bites you'll say, oh my, what a pizza pie! Stoner's Pizza Joint, Forsyth Road, Macon, and Houston Lake Road, Warner Robins.
Planning on a holiday party with friends, family, or coworkers? Texas Border Grill's private banquet room offers seating from 5 to 55. Lunch to dinner 7 days a week. Featuring an amazing menu with aged beef, seafood, and so many other signature dishes. Texas Border Grill.
Hey folks, Russell from Gridiron Game of the Week. When you get ready to buy a new car or a newer automobile, there's always the dilemma of what to do with your current car. Well, that's where You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em at 3306 Vineville Avenue comes in. You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em is the original automobile dealership with the owner in mind. For 18 years, You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em has been the only alternative to giving your car to a local dealer on a trade-in or trying to market your car yourself. So when you get ready to sell your old car, give them a call today at 254-6310. That's You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em, 3306 Vineville Avenue. It's football time in Middle Georgia, and that means it's time for the Macon Touchdown Club. Join us this year as we kick off our 72nd year at the Methodist Children's Home at 304 Pierce Avenue each and every Monday night. Come join us for a night filled of football fun and fellowship. We kick it off September the 11th. The Macon Touchdown Club, honoring student athletes since 1946. To find out more, log on to MaconTouchdownClub.com. Hey folks, it's Russell from Gridiron Game of the Week. You know, there comes a time when we all start to look for a brand new or even a newer automobile, and as a consumer, your choices have always been limited as to where to shop, and secondly, what to do with your current car. Take it to the local dealer and trade it in for wholesale, ride around town with that ugly for sale sign in the back window, or park it in your driveway and hope somebody stops by and they're really there to look at your car. Well, that's where the fine folks at You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em at 3306 Vineville Avenue in Macon come in. You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em is the original automobile dealership with the owner in mind. For almost 18 years, You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em has been the alternative to giving your car away to the local dealer on a trade-in or trying to market the car yourself. The professional staff at You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em has 35 years of experience in the automobile industry, and they're there solely to help you through the process of selling or buying your next car. If you have a car and you're ready to sell it, let the folks at You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em show you how to maximize your vehicle's marketing and financial potential today. You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em, the car lot for you. Remember folks, don't just park it, sell it. Give them a call today, 478-254-6310. That's You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em.
Before you put your company logo or event name on the streets, say it with authority. Apparel Authority. Now at a new location off Eisenhower Parkway across from Lowe's. Shirts, hats, cups, pens, patches, we put your logo on almost anything. Our team provides quality craftsmanship and custom embroidery, and our screen printing will turn your design into wearable works of art. Call or stop by in person for a quote. Apparel Authority, now at a new location off Eisenhower Parkway across from Lowe's.
This just in. A large storm in the Gulf has all but decimated the entire Gulf shrimping industry, with the exception of a lone shrimping boat manned by a legless veteran and a young gentleman that hasn't stopped waving at our cameras or telling us his mama's advice. Odd. In completely unrelated news, Kudzu Seafood Company, the authentic Gulf Coast seafood restaurant that brought the coast to Middle Georgia, has also cornered the shrimp market in Central Georgia. Barbecue shrimp and cheese grits, buffalo shrimp, firecracker shrimp tacos, shrimp po' boys, shrimp burgers, shrimp baskets, and Dr. Pepper, all on 3rd Street in downtown Macon. Stay tuned for more breaking news.
Planning on a holiday party with friends, family, or coworkers? Texas Border Grill's private banquet room offers seating from 5 to 55. Lunch to dinner 7 days a week. Featuring an amazing menu with aged beef, seafood, and so many other signature dishes. Texas Border Grill.
Before you put your company logo or event name on the streets, say it with authority. Apparel Authority, now at a new location off Eisenhower Parkway across from Lowe's. Shirts, hats, cups, pens, patches, we put your logo on almost anything. Our team provides quality craftsmanship and custom embroidery, and our screen printing will turn your design into wearable works of art. Call or stop by in person for a quote. Apparel Authority, now at a new location off Eisenhower Parkway across from Lowe's.
This just in. A large storm in the Gulf has all but decimated the entire Gulf shrimping industry, with the exception of a lone shrimping boat manned by a legless veteran and a young gentleman that hasn't stopped waving at our cameras or telling us his mama's advice. Odd. In completely unrelated news, Kudzu Seafood Company, the authentic Gulf Coast seafood restaurant that brought the coast to Middle Georgia, has also cornered the shrimp market in Central Georgia. Barbecue shrimp and cheese grits, buffalo shrimp, firecracker shrimp tacos, shrimp po' boys, shrimp burgers, shrimp baskets, and Dr. Pepper, all on 3rd Street in downtown Macon. Stay tuned for more breaking news.
I've always wanted this. You have too. It's waiting to be unleashed.
It's in all of us. You just have to find it. Greatness. It's where your dreams and passions become a reality.
Greatness is where your hard work and dedication pay off. Greatness. It's shaking hands with your future. Middle Georgia State University. Find your greatness.
Oh my, what a pizza pie! Take one bite and you'll say it too. In fact, take one bite of anything they cook at Stoner's Pizza Joint and they've got you. You'll immediately taste the difference because they make their dough daily, use only the finest cheese and top quality meats. Stoner's even cuts their vegetables fresh every day. Combine all that on the crisp crust taste of a stone oven, and in between bites you'll say, oh my, what a pizza pie! Stoner's Pizza Joint, Forsyth Road, Macon, and Houston Lake Road, Warner Robins.
And welcome back to Stoner's Pizza on a Thursday night as we are live on Forsyth Road. Glad to have you with us. I want to remind you once again our Stoner's Pizza Gridiron game of the week tomorrow night. It is FPD as they travel to Jack Mainsfield to take on the undefeated Tatnall Square Academy Trojans. Our pregame starts at 7:15. Kickoff is at 7:30. So we're talking a little SEC football. Most of the East is off this week with the exception of Kentucky, who takes on Mississippi State. Missouri takes on Idaho. And, of course, Alabama goes host Tennessee for the final burning of Butch Jones, I'm sure. But let's go back to the phone lines and let's bring in a BB dog himself. Brett, how are you, sir?
Great. How about yourself?
I'm doing good, man. So let's talk a little bit about last week's game against Missouri. I was a little surprised, as I told folks, that Missouri was able to put up 28 points. Of course, 2 of those came on big plays. I think their quarterback has matured a little bit. He can obviously sling the football. The game was tight, 21-all going into the second period, and then Georgia kind of put it on them and pulled away. Jake Fromm had an outstanding night, over 300 yards, and named SEC Freshman of the Week once again for the second time this year. Your thoughts on that game last week?
Yeah, it was a little concerning, the big plays. I mean, eventually, in that, I guess you could say it was an off game for a half of the defense, but the offense obviously carried them in that game. And then Kirby got on them, of course, at halftime, and they came out and stoned them the rest of the game. And I loved his speech after the game was, this is not an off week, this is not a bye week, this is a work week.
Well,
he knows what he's got, and he has to focus, man. Being number 3 in the country, the first time in 5 years, and there's so much media now, you just, coaching does his job by keeping those kids together and playing and not worrying about how good they think they are. That's a huge, and that's what Saban's done for so long. Yeah, you got 5-star recruits coming off the bench and this, that, and the other, but I mean, it's, controlling them kids, man. Got a lot to do with it. A lot to do with it.
Oh, it absolutely does. And I'll tell you something else that has to do is paying attention to the details of a game, even when your team is obviously outmatching your opponent. And I found it interesting last week that he did not even attempt, once the game was really out of hand, that Jacob Eason didn't see the field. And I'm just kind of wondering if this is it for Jacob Eason now.
I don't know why in the world he's going to play, unless, of course.
Well, when you're up 51 to 28, you would think he'd give him some mop-up duties, just give him some more snaps. But the fact that he didn't do that, does that mean anything to you? Am I reading something into this that I shouldn't?
I don't know. I mean, I've heard so much stuff about transfer and yada, yada, yada. Matter of fact, I'm fixing to watch here in just a few minutes. Our number one recruit, Justin Fields, is on ESPN2 tonight. I can't take a watch this here momentarily.
Who are they playing tonight? Do you know?
Dalton.
Okay.
I don't know really much about either school except Fields is coming to the Dogs, the number one recruit in the nation. And him and Fromm, that could be unreal. You got Fromm as the pro style, and you put packages in the field. So I don't know, man. I mean, I don't know how you're going to have room for 3 5-stars in one quarterback room, but who am I to know? I'm not a coach.
Well, and let's face it. I mean, Saban convinces these guys to come over there and sit for 2 years as a 5-star. That's on the defensive side of the ball, though. You don't see that on the offensive side of the ball.
No, exactly, especially at quarterback position. Absolutely. I mean, the kids don't want to play. I mean, is he going to transfer to Miami? A lot of people think he might, and he may. Who knows? I don't know. I don't have that answer. But I mean, it's right now. It's the Jake Fromm show. There's no way in the world. I mean, how in the world would you not play?
You can't. You can't sit him down unless he just falls apart in the game. I mean, that would be, and I don't see an opponent down the road, barring an injury or just some kind of tremendous mental breakdown in a game, which for him, having watched him play in high school and what he's done at Georgia, I'm not for sure that you got a kid with a mindset that's capable of that. Now, yeah, he could throw some interceptions and all that kind of stuff, but I think he's a mentally tough kid and he's a highly intelligent kid, and his football intelligence has already been proven as they work more things on the offense for him. But I don't know. I mean, it'll be interesting to see your talk. You're going to watch that game. I'll probably get to the house and try to watch some of it too, because I know this Fields kid's the 5-star number one recruit in the country, according to many of the sites out there. I'm not for sure of his style of football yet. I'd like to sit down and watch that and get a little more insight to what kind of player this kid is on the field and how he plays.
Exactly. I mean, I've seen several highlights on YouTube, and I'm interested to see him play a live ball game. And then I'll, of course, be flipping back and forth to the Memphis-Houston game. That's it's not a headliner game on Thursday, but that's not a bad game. Memphis is, I think, top 25 team. They beat Navy last week. Beat UCLA early in the year. So, they're a pretty good team in that conference, no doubt.
Yeah, Memphis has not been anybody to take light the last couple of years over there, and they're certainly getting some good recruits in there, and they're coaching them up, and it's putting out a good product on the field now. And their head coach, his name escapes me off the top of my head right now, but folks are talking about him, moving him up to any job openings that come up. So Georgia's got the week off, no problems this week. Florida's got the week off. They lost probably their best defensive lineman Saturday against Texas A&M. They came out and announced today he had surgery on Monday or Sunday. He's gone for the year. He was a fifth-year senior, or maybe a medical redshirt senior, and he's gone. So, boy, there's no way Georgia goes into Florida taking them light. But I don't, we got a week to talk about this still, Brett. But I don't see any conceivable way with 14 injuries on the football team and 9 suspensions that Florida can play with Georgia. And Felipe Franks is, he's a redshirt freshman. I don't think he's been up to the task. I don't think he's ready for the big-time game yet. Can he get there eventually? Probably, maybe. We'll see. But I don't think he's ready this year. I don't think it's going to pose a challenge for the Dogs. Just your early thoughts on that game.
Well, yeah, on paper it shouldn't even be close. And I think, we'll probably win conventionally. But then again, how many times have I sat right here on this dog deck and had Georgia-Florida parties knowing we're the better team and lose the freaking game? I don't see that happening this year, especially with Kirby Smart as the coach. Yeah, we did it last year, but total different circumstances. But Florida, there's no doubt about it. They're going to bring their A game. They're going to play their best game in that game. And so that's like, not that we're anything like Bama, but we are 7-0, so like Kirby quoted, man, everybody's going to give us our best shot. Everybody wants to knock off an undefeated team. That's any level of football, of course.
Oh, so, yeah. That's coming every weekend now to finish the season. Everybody you've got left, they're coming at you, and they're gonna come at you strong. And I just wanted to go back here and look at your schedule real quick. You've got Florida this week. Then on November 4th, right after that, you've got South Carolina, Auburn, and Kentucky. So you've got a 4-game stretch of Florida, South Carolina, Auburn, and Kentucky. Kentucky's a sleeper, brother. They're 2-1 in the conference. They're 5-1 overall. I don't think they've got the offense to stay with Georgia, but might be a game you want to keep an eye on if you're a Georgia fan.
Yeah, in South Carolina, there's another rivalry that there's been games we've lost when we're by far the superior team. So, yeah, we're not anywhere near done. I love, one game at a time. I guess, think that the Auburn game's probably the toughest test. But then, of course, we got to play that triple option crap in Atlanta. That's another one
and that's not going to be an easy game. I'm just telling you right now.
No.
They've lost 2 football games where their defense wore out. Games that they had, leads in, and then that probably could happen again against Georgia. But you're right. You get through Florida, and like I told you last week, and you and I both have been preaching about this for 3 weeks. It's one Saturday at a time because we saw 4 top 10 teams go down last Saturday, and hey, if you don't think it could happen to your team, you're crazy.
Oh yeah, absolutely. There's not a lot of key games this weekend. I'm definitely going to watch the Penn State, Michigan, and I'm definitely going to watch Notre Dame, USC. I can't believe I'm going to say this, but adopted Notre Dame since we went up there, and of course they help our strength schedule. When
That's
we
right.
There. So
That's right.
I think they're a good team. USC's score like Florida, injuries galore. So those are the 2 games at night I'm going to be keyed on. I don't even think there's a daytime game worth watching. Alabama, Tennessee's on CBS. That's like, really? But
yeah.
I don't know who else they had to choose from, so.
Well, who knows? I don't know. They really didn't have a lot. You got Kentucky and Mississippi State, Missouri and Idaho, and you've got who else?
Auburn, Arkansas.
Auburn, Arkansas. I'd rather watch paint dry. And so it's Alabama and Tennessee. It's the 3rd Saturday in October. Historically, it's the big matchup, and even though historically it has not been for many, many years now. But Michigan and Penn State will be a big game to watch. Saquon Barkley, and we'll find out if he's a real deal, I guess, against the Michigan defense Saturday. He certainly looks like it.
Yeah. The line, I went and got the paper. Pretty big line, 9.5 Penn State, going into the big house.
Well, it started it started at a 12.5 point line, so it's dropped 3 since Tuesday.
That's crazy.
All right, so Yeah, I've just got a feeling again. They dropped 3 in a row to Michigan now. I think it's time for Penn State to turn the corner, but you go to the big house, things can happen, and I think Harbaugh's a good coach, and he's going to have his guys ready to play. That's our pick'em contest this week. How about give me a score on that one?
Yeah, and of course I told you earlier on the phone today that Dog fans are going to obviously pull for the Wolverines so we can get Penn State out of the way. And I kind of think I don't know. I've not watched either one of them much, to be honest with you. But I'm going to say Harbaugh is at home, and I'm going to go. And they don't, they usually don't have high scoring games. But I'm going to say 24-21 Michigan.
24-21. Let me check your pick against the rest of them here. Michigan 24 and Penn State 21. I tell you what, all of my picks have been 22-12, 21-24. 21-17, 2017. I mean, it's just a low-scoring game, what everybody anticipates. And I don't know, maybe it'll turn into a track meet. If it does, Penn State obviously is going to win that football game because I don't think Michigan's got the offense this year to do it. They got the defense to play with anybody, but I don't think their offense, that's what's letting them down in the game. All right, so what's happening on Dog Deck Live this weekend? Anything? Taking a weekend off?
Live at 5 on the off week, the bye week yet.
Well, you can give us.
Look forward to next weekend. Hope you come by. We're going to probably have not a huge party, but definitely a Georgia-Florida party. So I'm very excited about that. Off weeks are good, to hopefully get healthy. We do have not too many major injuries. We definitely got some kids banged up. So I think we're going to go into Everbank Field and just blow them Gators away. I hope I didn't curse myself by saying that, but I really do feel that. So
yeah,
look forward to it.
I agree with you, and we got a lot to talk about between now and then. All right, brother. Yeah. So we'll talk on Saturday as we always do, and you'll go live on Facebook for Dog Deck Live around 5 o'clock then.
Yep, and I look forward to sitting in with you next Thursday.
Sounds fun, brother. All right, take care, man. All right, so Brett's going with the Michigan Wolverines, and I was going to look. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I've kind of got a split in this game. We'll end up with about 40 picks, and it looks like folks are giving Michigan a little bit of the benefit of the doubt in this game, but a lot of folks are picking this to be a low-scoring game. Brett's pick was Michigan in an upset, 9.5-point underdog. They started as a 12.5-point dog, 24-21. We'll take another timeout. We're getting late in the show here. Love to have your calls, 478-550-0524. We'll be back after this timeout. The Macon Touchdown Club continues its 72nd season on Monday, October the 2nd at the Methodist Children's Home located on Pierce Avenue right here in Macon. It's Georgia Tech night, and we welcome to town the head coach of the Yellow Jackets, Paul Johnson. Our program begins at 6:30 with dinner, and our presentation soon to follow. We'll shine a spotlight on our local high school of the week and honor our back linemen and special teams players as well. So join us Monday night, October the 2nd at the Macon Touchdown Club. For more information, log on to MaconTouchdownClub.com.
Oh my, what a pizza pie! Take one bite and you'll say it too. In fact, take one bite of anything they cook at Stoner's Pizza Joint and they've got you. You'll immediately taste the difference because they make their dough daily, use only the finest cheese and top quality meats. Stoner's even cuts their vegetables fresh every day. Combine all that on the crisp crust taste of a stone oven, and in between bites you'll say, oh my, what a pizza pie! Stoner's Pizza Joint, Forsyth Road, Macon, and Houston Lake Road, Warner Robins.
And welcome back to Gridiron Gab on a Thursday night. We are live at Stoner's Pizza on Forsyth Road. We want to remind you that tomorrow night we will be live at Jack Baines Field on the campus of Tatnall Square Academy for our Stoner's Pizza Gridiron Game of the Week, as it'll be Tatnall putting their undefeated record on the line as they host about 3.5 miles away their longtime rival, the FPD Vikings and Coach Greg Moore, as they come off only their second loss of the season to the Stratford Academy Eagles, our Stoner's Pizza Gridiron Game of the Week last week. So we've got some great rivalry games coming up over the next couple of weeks. And we'll have another good one tomorrow night. Want to remind you, our picking contest tonight is Michigan at Penn State. You're going to win a bunch of gift certificates and hats and T-shirts and cups and koozies and all kind of stuff that you can enjoy. And if you win, like David Keys did last week and Russ Campbell, your name goes into the hat for the grand prize drawing. So what's the grand prize drawings this year? Well, how about a 12-gauge pump shotgun and an AR-15 rifle from Pawn Max Incorporated? How about a choice of electric or acoustic guitar from Bill Harden Music? And then to top it off, we'll throw in a $1,000 Big Green Egg Smoker from Cherokee Brick and Tile. So our pick is this week, Michigan and Penn State. You can call us tonight at 478-550-0524, or you can give us your pick on Facebook, or you can email me at gridirongab@yahoo.com. Have to have your picks in by 9 o'clock on Saturday morning if you want to participate in it. So we're going to bring in another, it's every week. It's Alabama, it's Georgia. I can't get away from this shit. But this week it's our man Mike Owens, who's back visiting with us again this week. So your thoughts last week on the Dogs and Missouri?
Well, I think our defense was awoken, or if that's a word, after the two bombs. And other than that, they played pretty well. We just got to shore up that long pass defense. We've had a couple of passes this year that I've seen that I was telling whoever was watching the game with that's just off the mark. And if those had been completed, we'd have been seeing that all year. But they just happened to be a yard or foot or so too long.
Surprise you that Missouri, after we've seen them play this year, when they played Auburn, I watched that game, and I forgot, there was one other game I watched them play. They really look like a bad football team. I was surprised they were able to put that kind of points up. Even the two big plays, that's part of football. I think their quarterback is a very good player, and it's going to turn out to be a really good player. I was a little surprised that Georgia allowed them to score that many points.
Well, they had the two long passes, and they had one drive that was a half a yard or a yard long or something like that.
Right.
When Fromm threw an interception, but so when you take those three away, they sustained one drive the whole game. So, I'm pretty happy with that part. Just one score. But
if you look at Georgia this year, the only weaknesses that I really see on the whole team might be the secondary, and maybe a little bit on the receiving core. But I just think that's a little more of inexperience than anything. That's the only weak points that I've been able to see on this football team this year.
Well, Terry Godwin went out with some kind of rib injury. I don't know how long he's going to be out.
But he'll be back. I think he's going to be back.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Well, that'll help because that's our big play guy.
Right. Look around as we look at the schedule this week. Florida's off. Georgia's off. Kentucky plays Mississippi State. Now, Kentucky sits at 2-1 in the conference, 5-1. You've got them after the Florida game. You play Florida, South Carolina, and Kentucky. Those three teams, any of them make you nervous?
All of them.
Yeah.
Each week when you're still dealing with 18 to 22-year-old kids, and you never know what's going to show up. And we have some voodoo or something in Florida that we seem to not be able to play as well down there, even when we play it the rest of the games well. So I want to get through that one, then we'll worry about the other ones after that.
Yep, I agree with you, and I've said that all week. So Kentucky plays Mississippi State. Missouri's at Idaho. South Carolina, Vanderbilt, Florida, and Georgia are off in the East. In the West, Arkansas plays Auburn. LSU is at Ole Miss. Mississippi State obviously plays Kentucky. A&M is off, and then Alabama and Tennessee. I asked Brett a few minutes ago when he called. Tennessee at home in Neyland Stadium last week. Anemic on offense, Mike. They dropped that game, I think, 19-17 or 19-12, whatever the score was. Butch Jones, is he going to – if he gets annihilated in Tuscaloosa, does he last till Monday morning? Or because of the money, do you think they go to the end of the season with a man?
I don't know. We talked last week. I'm not real big on getting rid of the coach in the middle of the season, but he might want to charter his own plane to come back after that if he gets beat really bad. I think that even though the team may be saying the right things, I think he's lost a lot of the team. That's just my opinion. And he's of course he's lost a lot of the fan base. it just something's going on up there. They're either tired of hearing his little slogans, or they don't believe them, or something's going on. So
his Les Milesisms, or whatever you want to call it. Yeah, Les Miles used to say some of that crazy stuff too, and clap like this. Strange cat.
Yeah.
I don't know how he survives. I think he may still have some supporters in Knoxville. I have no idea who they are. I mean, he's Paul Former's back in the athletic department now. I don't know how much Peyton Manning's got influence over it, and of course Peyton's obviously got the money to to be able to to make some influence on it. Let's go back to the phone lines, and let's go to the phones. And Jim, you with us?
Yes, sir. What's going on?
I'm sitting here with Mike Owens, who's giving us his take on the great Georgia Bulldogs, and it's a perfect time for you to call in.
What's happening, Jim?
What's going on? The Georgia Bulldogs, when I think of the Georgia Bulldogs, I think of the 68 Packers, the 85 Bears, 79 Steelers. Almost unstoppable.
Okay, right now, if you're out there listening to this talk show, just know that Jim is pulling your string right now. He's trying to blow the Bulldogs' heads up so they won't beat his beloved Auburn Tigers when it comes down the pike.
All right, so what are you calling in so late for? I mean, it's 10-8. What's up? Where you been? I lost him.
Uh-oh.
Well, we'll see if he calls back here in a second. We'll see if we can get him. I know he was up visiting up around the Noonan area tonight, probably on a little business. Let's move on to this Michigan-Penn State game. Your thoughts on this? Michigan's beat them 3 years in a row, kind of broke their hearts last year. The game is, I think the game is in college. I think the game's in Happy Valley. I might be wrong. I think Penn State is the home team in this one. Michigan, obviously a great defense. Saquon Barkley at the tailback, Mr. Everything for Penn State. Does Penn State finally show that they deserve the number 2 ranking this weekend?
I don't know whether they deserve the number 2 ranking, but I do think they're going to beat Michigan this week. I've watched them a couple of games, and I just think they have what it takes to beat them this year. Hopefully they'll get over that hump.
All right, so let's get your prediction on that game.
Texted it in to you. It was, what did I put it, 24-10 or something like that.
Let's go back to the phones. Jim, I got you?
You got me. We got a little shaky connection.
Well, you're up there in the boondocks. Where are you at?
Well, I'm about 3 miles north of Ludwig.
3 miles north of what?
Ludwig.
Well, be careful up there, because that's where the men are men and the sheep are scared. Okay, so we got Mike here. We've been talking Georgia. We've been talking Michigan and Penn State. So the Blue Hose this week, they lost 7-0 last week to Charleston Southern, and we got to have a Blue Hose update. They got to come. No, they're at home. They play Kennesaw State this weekend.
The Blue Hose and Kennesaw State?
That's it, brother.
You know what they say, them hoes are bad, wet, dry.
Well, they're 3-3 on the year, so you'll have to give us an update next Thursday night on what happened with Kennesaw State. They lost to, who they lose to last week? Charleston Southern. The week before, they got a win against St. Francis. I'm assuming that's a college. I don't know.
Yeah, they've been trying to claw their way back to the level of 1987 team that went out and played the Pittsburgh State Gorillas, Pittsburgh, Kansas, in the playoffs.
Okay, since we're talking about tragedies, let's go back and talk about what happened in Baton Rouge last Saturday night.
It was a meltdown of epic proportions.
Well, tell me why that continues to happen with Gus Malzahn in big games. Any clue? 270 yards of offense in the first half and 52 total yards in the second half against a less than mediocre LSU team as far as I was concerned.
I've heard all the stories you've heard. I think they're scripting about the first 30 plays, and after that they don't know what to do. They got to let the quarterback run. Got to throw some intermediate short passes. You got to put your pedal to the metal. You got to put people away. the mentality. Alabama knows how to put people away.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, that's the problem to me, and we've seen it happen over and over again with the Gus Malzahn football team in huge games. You and I have talked about this till we're blue in the face. They go to Arkansas this weekend and play probably the second worst team in the SEC, only behind Missouri. If that game is anywhere close or competitive, I think the noise is almost going to be deafening coming out of Auburn about Gus Malzahn's tenure at Auburn.
Yeah, I'm sorry you broke up a little bit. I think he's got to win out, and he's got to split with Georgia and Alabama, or nobody's going to be on the Gus bus. I don't know if he can survive. The fans is a little different what the fans are thinking what's actually going to happen with the administration. You know, got stuff going on with the athletic director, but I think the only way he could win the fans back is win them all, and short of that, maybe win them all and split Georgia and Alabama. But I just don't see everybody I talk to are just off the Gus bus at this point.
I agree with you. All right, Michigan and Penn State. Your thoughts on that real quick before we lose you here.
I think Michigan might upset them. I don't know about the deal with Penn State. I'm not buying it.
Well, they've lost 3 in a row to Michigan. They started as a 12.5-point favorite this week. That's dropped to 9 now. I just don't think Michigan's got the offense. I mean, obviously they got the defense. I don't think they've got the offense to score with Penn State this particular year, and you may be right. I think this goes a long way to tell you exactly what Penn State's got. Mike and I were talking about it. I'm not for sure they're the number 2 team in the country right now.
Yeah, I agree. You may be right. You were right several years ago. You remember that?
Yeah, I was right 2 weekends ago, too. All right, so big high school football game tomorrow night, the Vikings and the Trojans. I'm sure I'll see you prowling the sidelines, won't I?
Yeah, that's a toss-up.
It is. I think it could be a toss-up, and I think it's going to be interesting how it plays out. And then the following week gets even better with Tattnall and Stratford. But you've got FPD and Tattnall this Friday night, and that's the first one that's got to be played before we play the rest of them. Auburn not going to struggle with Arkansas, right? Or yes?
You said Auburn, Arkansas?
Yeah.
Auburn's going to beat them by 2 touchdowns.
2 touchdowns, that's it. That's pretty sad, isn't it, brother?
Hey, Jim. Jim, this is Mike. I'm not going to be.
Jim Newton still got a year of eligibility.
That's right.
Hey, I'm not going to be at the Tattnall game, so you got to be wearing your blue and gold in my stead on Friday.
Mike said you got to wear the blue and gold on Friday. I think we lost it. Yes, we did.
Lost him again.
Lost him again. All right. Any final thoughts? You got the bye week for the Dogs this week. What you gonna watch? Michigan and Penn State.
I'm just gonna sit back with something good to eat and cold to drink and just watch football. And I don't have to pull for anybody. Just watch it go.
A stress-free weekend.
Well, first, I'm gonna put this out there. First, I've got to go over to Fort Benning.
Right.
As you know, my daughter's a cross-country runner in college, and she runs her last collegiate race Saturday morning. So we've been following her since the 6th grade, and come Saturday afternoon, that'll all be over with. And she's had a pretty good little college career, and we're proud of her, and we'll go over there and root her on one more time.
Well, I know that'll be fun, and it'll be an emotional moment for you as well, as well as her. Yeah. But we still got some schoolwork left to do, obviously, though.
Yeah, she graduates in May.
That's right. So. And then off the payroll. Let's
unless
hope so, dog. Right?
Unless she goes and gets her master's, then she's on there for one more year.
I done told mine you get your master's. It's all on you, baby.
Well,
it's all on you.
We're hoping that she'll do a graduate assistantship somewhere, and that'll help pay for it. But I told her I'd be willing to keep her on the payroll one more year if she's going to get her master's.
That's right.
But if she chooses not to, her own cell phone bill will start coming to her address with her name on it.
That's right. At some point, that cord's got to get cut.
Along with the insurance cards and everything else.
That's right. That's right. All right, so you got a bye week this week. You can rest easy, go enjoy Ashley's last cross-country run, and get ready for next week. And the nervousness will start to go up because everything on paper says now the Gators can't do it, but we know what's happened in the past.
That's right. That's right. Hey, and a shout out to your daughter too. I know she had a little mouth surgery this week. Hope she's feeling better. And,
poor wisdom teeth cut out last Friday. I wouldn't wish that on anybody. But she's doing fine back at school, and, we're going to turn around. It's going to be Thanksgiving weekend, and the holidays are going to be here, and this year has flown by. Unfortunately, the college football season is also flying by. All right, Mike, thank you. We're going to take our final timeout. We'll come and wrap things up. We'll come right back and wrap things up here at Stoner's Pizza on Forsyth Road. You're listening to Gridiron Gab on the DSBN Sports Network. We will be back after this timeout. Hey folks, Russell from Gridiron Game of the Week. When you get ready to buy a new car or a newer automobile, there's always the dilemma of what to do with your current car. Well, that's where You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em at 3306 Vineville Avenue comes in. You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em is the original automobile dealership with the owner in mind. For 18 years, You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em has been the only alternative to giving your car to a local dealer on a trade-in or trying to market your car yourself. So when you get ready to sell your old car, give them a call today at 254-6310. That's You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em, 3306 Vineville Avenue. It's football time in Middle Georgia, and that means it's time for the Macon Touchdown Club. Join us this year as we kick off our 72nd year at the Methodist Children's Home at 304 Pierce Avenue each and every Monday night. Come join us for a night filled of football fun and fellowship. We kick it off September the 11th. The Macon Touchdown Club, honoring student athletes since 1946. To find out more, log on to MaconTouchdownClub.com. It's And welcome back to Stoner's Pizza on a Thursday night. Glad to have had the opportunity to visit with you again this Thursday night. We want to thank our callers. We want to thank our guest, Charles Crowley, the proprietor here at Stoner's Pizza. We had our regular guests that come on, Brett Barron and BB Dog. He's live on Saturday afternoons at 5 o'clock on his show that he does on the Dog Deck. And I want to thank Mike Owens for sitting in with us. Don't forget, your tailgating needs tomorrow night. Come by and Stoner's Pizza here on Forsyth Road or at Warner Robins on Highway 96, and soon to open in Byron, Georgia as well, too. Get the Big Texan. It's about as big a pizza as you want and feed a lot of folks at the tailgate. Before we get out of here, obviously, we want to thank our sponsors, Stoner's Pizza, You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em, Texas Border Grill, Kudzu Seafood, Cherokee Brick and Tile, Bill Harden Music, Paul Max Incorporated, Apparel Authority, the Macon Touchdown Club. I will mention Monday night at the Methodist Children's Home on Pierce Avenue. Our guest speaker will be none other than the former Alabama great quarterback, Brody Kroll, will be in town. And he's going to come in and talk about the Crimson Tide and a big effort that he's involved in for underprivileged and orphaned and neglected children called the Big Oak Ranch. And it is should be a very exciting night. We'll spend our high school spotlight on the FPD Vikings on Monday, and we'll have our back linemen and special teams of winter awards. We start at 6:30 with dinner, and our program soon to follow. If you want to find out more, go to MaconTouchdownClub.com. Give me a call. We'd love to have you as a guest. Dinner and the meal, everything's included for $30 at guest, and you do not need to pay for it ahead of time. Just come on over to the Methodist Children's Home and join about 200 of us on a Monday night. We'd love to have you join. One more time, our Stoner's Pizza Gridiron Game of the Week tomorrow night is the FPD Vikings at the Tatnall Square Academy Trojans. We'll kick off the pregame show at 7:15. We'll kick it off at 7:30 live. It'll be live on Facebook, Yahoo, and DSBNsports.com. That's going to do it. Don't forget to get your picks in from Michigan and Penn State. Can't go over on the winner side. You'll win the prizes if you pick it correctly. Congratulations to last week's winners once again, David Keys and Russ Campbell. Russ, our first two-time winner. He's got his name in the hat twice now for the grand prize drawing. We'll see you tomorrow night, everybody. We'll see you next Thursday night, live from Stoner's Pizza here on Forsyth Road. We'll see you tomorrow night for the football game. Our time is up. We thank you for yours.